Nigeria's economy today, touching base with all you need to know.
Many thanks for joining us on your favorite program, Nigeria's Economy Today, coming to you from Super Screen Television in Lagos. And happy 68th Independence Anniversary to you all. In today's episode, we shall be taking a look at information and communication technology ahead of 2021. And I have with me here in the studio to do justice to that topic an ICT consultant and hardware manufacturer, Mr. Yomi Soyinka. Mr. Soyinka, you are welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Just before I take on Mr. Yomi Soyinka on ICT ahead of 2021, I would like to discuss one big problem that has been with us since independence. And this is the problem of frequent power outages in Nigeria. Joining me via telephone to discuss this important topic is a public policy analyst, Mr. Bolutife Oluwadele. Mr. Oluwadele, are you on the phone? Hello, Mr. Oluwadele.
How are you?
Okay, thank you for joining us on Nigeria's Economy Today, Mr. Oluwadele.
Welcome.
Yeah. Mr. Oluwadele, generation and distribution companies are now privatized in Nigeria, while transmission is still with the federal government. Is there anything wrong in the unbundling of NEPA or PHCN as it were?
Well, thank you very much. Like the other time I explained that this unbundling to me is a bit artificial. It's artificial because even if for me I have a document which speaks about the embedded power generation and distribution in Nigeria. And in that document it said that whatever is generated by an independent generator and shall be evacuated via the grid. Here, this is where the problem lies. When you have the transmissions, central transmission as of today, with an inbuilt capacity of about 17,000 megawatts. So that even that one, is no longer operating in full capacity. So let's say at 60 capacity, that transmission can only have about 10,000 megawatts. And currently it is estimated that our need as a nation is about 25,000 megawatts. So currently we have installed capacity for generation standing at about 12,500 megawatts. But the actual generation is about 3,500 to 5,000 megawatts. So when you look at all these statistics, it shows that something is still wrong with our electricity generation. And we have not really found solution, or rather we actually find the solution to this problem. Because all this unbundling, it is more rhetoric than in action. So if we want to face these challenges, squarely, it is not the issue of unbundling that is the matter. There are so many fundamentals that we are overlooking. If you privatize the generation, and this one can generate 100,000 megawatts, for instance, today, how do we evacuate them? How do we distribute them? The capacity of the transmission cannot handle the level of our requirement. So if you don't look at all this problem holistically, I don't know. It seems that we are just driving around the roundabout. We are moving around the roundabout. So we are not yet serious about tackling this problem of electricity. So the unbundling to me is more about administrative convenience. And it doesn't really amount to anything.
Okay, the unbundling really does not, achieve its purpose. And you mentioned the fact that we need about 25,000 megawatt capacity, and we are not having as much as that. What is responsible?
No, we are not.
Why are we not having as much as that? What could be responsible for that?
First, it is bus planning. So I have studied that here before. I also wrote in my article when I was suggesting modular alternatives. And I took us back in history. The issue of national grid was actually a campaign promise by NPN in 1978 and policy. And unfortunately in Nigeria, the way we do things, that precedence, we build on it. So every successful government started building on that faulty national grid policy. And that is why we are where we are today. So the bottom line, the first thing we need to do is to look at that policy again. Do we need a super grid in Nigeria? Do we need something that is more manageable? Can we break things down into manageable situations? So if before the national grid policy came on board, many cities, many towns were isolated. They have their own power stations. And we see have candidates about those moments. Everybody was not hooked onto the national grid. And things were working better that time. But from 1980, when NPN then government, saying we want to electrify Nigeria, and they came up with this policy of national grid, every town, every bus center abandoned their power station. And they joined the hook onto the national grid. Not even minding the capacity of the national grid. And most of these power stations were not even kept as backup. So I don't know today what has happened to those power stations. So this is where our problem started. And like I said earlier on, other government than correcting these anomalies, they kept on building on the same anomalies. So the foundation of the issue is wrong. Because when they were contemplating national grid, they were not contemplating our needs. They were not matching that need with the capacity of our infrastructure. And that is why there is a huge problem, there is a huge deficit in the infrastructure, in the electricity infrastructure.
Okay, there is a fundamental problem there. Now, talking about policy, we just experienced a recent increase in electricity tariff. And some are of the opinion that Nigerians are going to be paid, are made to pay for someone's inefficiency. I want to ask, does Nigeria deserve this electricity increment at this point in time?
Well, last time I spoke to you on this, I told you that we are paying on it for inefficiency. And it's very simple. It's a simple arithmetic, not even talk of economics. Capacity for generation. Currently, we are generating between 3,500 and 5,000 megawatts. Out of this 40 some we are generating, we are still exporting electricity to Niger Republic. We are still exporting part of it to Togo. We are still exporting part of it to Benin Republic. I think we have stopped exporting to Ghana. We used to export to Ghana. But Ghana, as of today, is generating 10,000 megawatts, which is above our needs. Actually, what the entire country of Ghana needs for electricity is not up to what Lagos needs.
Wow.
So they are producing, but they are generating more than what they need. They are even taking over export. Maybe as time goes on, we are also going to be importing from Ghana. Now, coming to the tariff, let me use one simple example for you here. You have a 14-seater vehicle. When this COVID social distance came, so instead of carrying 40 passengers, they now carry 7 passengers. So from Bariga to Inibo, when they were charging maybe 60 and 70 naira before, during COVID, they started charging 200 naira. Because the downfall driver knows that either is carrying 7 or is carrying 40 passengers, he's still going to use the same amount to maintain his vehicle. So because we are generating so little, the average cost per unit of electricity is very high.
Wow.
And when the price is very high, who pays? There are two options. Number one option is allow the consumer to pay the commercial rate. The second option is to share the price between government and the people, in which case the government will be subsidizing the electricity bill. Okay, government came with this segmented pricing, whereby some eyebrow pay more and the local area pay little. But there's also a fault with that. So because we are generating so you are not utilizing our capacity efficiently, so the cost of producing is very high. And that cost cannot be sustained for a long time. That is on the other side. Even the little that we are generating, a lot of them is lost through transmission, through evacuation process rather, because the infrastructure is very weak. The infrastructure is aging. Some of the transmission layers is almost like 70 years, 60 years, 50 years. Some of them are older than Nigeria independence. So when you are not still evacuating through those infrastructure, you lose a lot in the process. So at the end of the day, what comes to transmission stations is very little. But you also have to recover your costs from that very little.
So because of the inefficiency in the power sector, the citizens are made to suffer for it in terms of paying more for electricity. Now, we are celebrating...
Is that they pay directly or government subsidized?
Okay. We are celebrating 60th anniversary of Nigerians' independence today. And I recall this particular phrase, up NEPA. Many of us were born into saying up NEPA. A lot of people that were born 60 years ago were saying up NEPA. Now, when you see a little child of about 1 or 2 years today, immediately an electricity comes, they will still say up NEPA. That is the symptoms of unending power outages, the inefficiency in the power sector. Now, the question is, as we turn 60, what are the suggested way to come out of this particular problem of unending power outages? What can you suggest?
Well, last time I said it clearly that we have to think of modular system. We have to think of modular in terms of integrated system, not a kind of a grid, or you may call it a local grid. So whereby a company with government, because of the deficiency in infrastructure, I will want a structure that when a company is granted a license for modular operation, the government is taking a shareholder of about 20 to 25%, so which will enable them to provide some infrastructure. So if we are going to do a modular system, for instance, most of the substations, the 330 kV substation, the 132 kV substation, the 33 kV substations, some of these substations can be converted within a particular area so that you have a manageable system within a particular area that you can now have generation, transmission, and distribution in a particular area. And this modular system can also be multimodal, in which case you have thermal, you have gas, you have hydro, and you have wind turbine, all those things combined. but within a very manageable environment, so that we don't have a scenario whereby when there's a systemic failure at the transmission station, the whole nation is thrown into darkness. So we cannot handle our electricity solution by centralizing transmission. We have to use alternative means. So modular system, I suggest.
Okay, thank you very much. You suggested that we should move away from the super grid and embrace modular system. Some other people have also suggested that we should embrace solar system. Apart from the modular system that you suggested, what other alternatives or what is your take on the solar system?
The solar system is part of multimodal that can feed into the modular system. So when I say multimodal, I'm saying that we are not just using one system. Either if we are using solar, you are using hydro, you are using wind turbine, you are using all kinds of technology. But it's just like you are concentrating your energy within a defined environment.
Okay, thank you very much. And this may probably be my last question to you, Mr. Oluwadele. As Nigeria progresses from 68 to 61 in 2021, do you think we can get out of this on ending power outages? And what is your suggestion or encouragement to the government?
Well, there is no problem that doesn't have a solution. But we must be very sincere with ourselves. So there is no holding working. If this national grid has not worked from 1980 to today, remember I said the national grid was started by NPN government in 1979. Before then, we have a kind of isolated situation, a kind of modular system actually. So where a particular town has its own power stations and generate its power and transmit it and distribute it. So what is happening in that town does not affect what is happening in another town. Okay, sometimes they have their own downtown, but they resolve it over time. So centralization is the major problem that we have to have the courage to do away with. So if government is ready to say, okay, fine, this centralization is not working. Let us look back to what was happening before 1979 and then modernize what was happening then we will move forward. So it is not a case of want to hold on to a particular aspect of it, even when it is not working. And realistically, we must also know that most of this infrastructure are very weak. They are aging. They are not well maintained. So that is why we cannot say government should just hand off completely. We still need government to be able to build this infrastructure. Either you use PPP or all kind of arrangements that will work, in which government contribute and the private sector contribute. But you remember that before a private sector will bring their money, they will have to have the assurance they will be able to recoup their investment. So we have to be realistic and tell ourselves, do we really want to solve this problem? And if the answer is yes, we have to change our strategy. The current strategy is not working, and it's not going to work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bolutife Oluwadele, a public policy analyst. We thank you for your contributions to Nigeria's economy today. Thank you for coming on the show, Mr. Oluwadele. Still to come, ICT ahead of 2021. We'll go on a short